So
part of the Bay?
Napa Valley.
Napa Valley. Okay.
Yes, you're from
Sacramento.
up north. Yes, yes.
But I
So
used
he's
to
my
work out of the
neighbor.
Bay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, where at?
Well, in San Fran, all over San Fran, San
Okay.
Jose, Richmond, Oakland. Yeah.
He gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Every
So-
time I hear Richmond, it's Coach Carter.
Coach Carter.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Alright,
So I've been
recording?
in LA for like
We're
a
good?
few years. So
We're good.
I met him out on a night out, and here we are.
Here we are.
The
One
rest
happy
is
family.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
We
these guys are
fight,
cool.
We laugh.
We cry.
We cry.
We cry.
Not her,
I'm
but
not.
we cry. But we get along.
Hey, it
Barely.
works.
Yeah.
It works.
It makes the journey 1,000% better.
Well, thank y'all for having me here.
Oh,
you for
man.
coming.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
We're gonna drill you.
I think everybody's favorite firefighter, toxic boyfriend / side piece, or favorite dancer.
Very favorite
Oh,
dancer.
damn.
I mean, or if for the people that don't know, also an MMA fighter. So if you
Mhm.
want to be safe, gotta hang out with him.
Just don't make him mad.
Don't,
Don't
I'm
make
a
him
happy
mad.
guy.
Seems like a chill guy.
I don't get mad no more.
for the people that don't have TV, don't watch TV, don't watch any sort of TikToks or Instagram, who are you? What do you do?
Man, I'm Ryan Guzman. I'm from Sacramento, California. Originally born in Texas. And I don't know, I'm just a artist, human being, trying to create cool stuff for people. You know, I'm just lucky enough to have the jobs I've gotten, and hopefully keep it pushing and keep it growing.
Man, well, Ryan, appreciate this, man. Thank you for coming through on this Friday night on an LA traffic day.
It actually wasn't that bad, man. I think God kind of separated it like Moses, part of the way, allowed me to come here hella quick, so it was good.
Everything worked out. I mean, God's timing is always perfect timing, as we always say.
Exactly.
Never wrong. But, man, 911.
Talk about timing, man. Yeah.
The way that comes about, the way your acting journey comes about, modeling journey comes about, I feel like it's a real testimony to God's timing.
Mhm.
But everybody here, even my special invites, know you from 911, man. How is all of that for you? How did that change your life?
First and foremost, yeah, gotta give it up to God, man. At the time, my faith was being tested in a lot of different ways, and I hadn't really dove back into it because I was raised, typical Mexican Catholic church, CCD, altar boy, all that kind of stuff. But then I fell out, and then I got the news about having my firstborn, and 911 came out of nowhere. And again, I just kind of had to look up and be like, I don't know what's happening right now, but let me not swat this blessing away. Yeah. And it's been a ride. It's now going on 8-year ride, which doesn't happen nowadays in TV.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
So
No,
I'm just trying to be grateful, give it back at the same time, and I've learned so much within these 8 years or 7 years. That I feel like my career's just starting all over again.
Isn't that
15 years in, I feel like I'm just starting all over again.
You think sometimes like that age is a limit, or that when you get to a certain age that everything's over.
Yeah.
You're living proof that you could just hit reset
Mm-hmm.
at any given time in God's time.
Yeah.
God's time.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest lesson is you've learned in those 15 years?
I don't know if I can condense it to just one lesson because there's so many lessons, and I think life has a special way of cycling those lessons until you learn it, and then you can move on to the next one. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I like to say that I'm a little slow learner, so it takes me a little bit extra longer to learn the lessons sometimes, but nonetheless, I think it's just allowed me to stay open to the lesson, to know that my ego needs to be put to the side a lot of the times, and I need to be a student of life rather than a person that's trying to master it.
Does that patience, that ability to sit back and learn, does that come from your MMA background? And I know you had said in an interview that one of your inspirations is like Bruce Lee, right? And he's icon, his life lessons, the way he's teaching. Do you get that patience kind of from fighting? And because you spent a lot of years fighting, and you still do, according to sources.
Yeah.
According to sources.
Yeah, still fight. Hands are still jacked up today because of it. No, patience for my kids. To be honest, it just comes through time for me. I wasn't always like this. My 20s was a lot of like throwing stuff on the wall, seeing what lands. Again, I had to be humbled by life. I don't know if necessarily I was a humble individual back in my earlier years, but I definitely got humbled. And just taking in the lessons, being self-aware is a big thing. And the more self-aware I became, the more I realized not too many people are. So it is a gift in itself. 100%. And that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, Bruce Lee, though, I will say this. He has been, let me preface, I love my father, and I've taken so much from my father, but he was a father-type figure for me in so many other aspects of my life. I would be a young kid reading his books and studying his films. So his philosophy became ingrained into my everyday. And so many times I can kind of like run back his words when I'm in solitude, and it allows me to grow.
Is there like a certain quote that comes right to mind that from his teachings or a philosophy that he taught that just...
Yeah, it was. So his philosophy in fighting in general was absorb as much as you possibly can and apply what's needed, essentially. So he would take, Kung Fu, and he would take traditional karate and Taekwondo and even Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. And he's not saying that it has to be one form at a time, but he's combining all of them together and applying certain aspects of each depending on whatever his opponent is throwing at him. Yeah. And I always thought that was kind of beautiful and could be applied to everything in life. Yeah. Even our acting. So as I'm finding myself learning a little bit more and more how to become a more thorough actor, I'm understanding how I can apply different techniques and methods.
Yeah. Well, according to sources, acting came in at one of your most, I would say, your back is against the wall type of ordeal in your life. An apartment of 5 people, roach infested, couch all
humble
beaten
beginnings.
Model apartment, right?
Right,
model
top tier, baby. What do you live?
You know.
Yeah. Top tier, and step up lands in your books, in your path.
Yeah. So how it happened was I was living in that apartment. I never liked modeling, to be honest, and I don't like that industry for a main reason that there's so many seedy people, and I've kind of always said this. People take advantage of young individuals, and I was a very naive person. I was just trying to get out of Sacramento, just trying to, make some kind of money, get out the Bay.
I get you. I hear you.
And opportunity presented itself. I jumped on it. And a friend of mine, actually not even a friend, let me not say that, an acquaintance through the modeling industry, reminded me not too recently that while other people were I would party every now and then, but while other people were partying, I'd be reading books, and I'd be trying to study as much as I possibly can and like just learn how to become an actor, let alone get into commercial work or stuff. So commercials is what really got me into acting.
Okay.
And that's when I made my first like big paycheck. It was a KFC commercial where you saw like this much of my hand.
You know what? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I made 5 figures off of this. So like imagine they saw the whole thing.
Millionaire.
He said, just wait.
Come on, mama. We got to make it. And then, I got that thirst to grow. So I read this book, The War of Art, and it changed my life. And I advise everybody that I come into contact with to read this book because it's just about resistance and how your mind kind of works against itself, essentially, from attaining all the things that you want. And I always found that interesting. So one thing led to another, and then, within 9 months, and I had moved out of that model apartment prior to getting 911.
Bill's character.
Okay.
It did,
Bill's character.
I was there for like 6 months or so. I don't know how long, 7 months or so. It was enough to make a lasting effect. Know that I don't want to live there.
Never again.
Never again.
Yeah, a veces tienes que tocar fondo. Sometimes you have to touch there.
It is.
Never again.
Yeah. But 9 months later, I pick up my, I audition for a manager, and at the time, the manager I auditioned for left, and she'll never own up to this, but I'm gonna call her out anyway. But she left, and she said, like, don't call me until pilot season's done. And the manager she had brought into the room that was just sitting in, she's like, I don't know what she's smoking. Here's my card. I'll send you out next week. And then within 3 months is when I booked Step Up.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So much discipline, so much hard work, so resilient. It sounds like you are. Where does that come from?
Honestly,
Because to get where you're at, I mean,
it goes to my dad. My dad pushed me to be. I felt like he always was trying to raise me to be a Navy SEAL. So I was kind of like a different kid, you know.
Okay.
I was coach's son too. At the same time, we played soccer. He's very strict, but he would push me to my ultimate limit. And when I hit my limit, he'd be like, "Nah, we can go past that now."
One more. Keep going.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah, keep going. And then I had to be the example for everybody else. So I'm also the firstborn in my family. And I come from a big Mexican family, you know, where the cousins feel like brothers and sisters. So I was always feeling like this amount, like it always kind of felt like the weight of the world was on me. And I had to uphold that, which later on I tackled in a healthy way. But it was all because of my father and my upbringing. And I like to give my culture the flowers too. I think Mexicans are known for hard workers. We work hard. We just don't get the claim.
It's not something you kind of we can claim because it's kind of like it's normal.
It's
Exactly.
given.
It's
It's
given.
built
It's a
in.
part of who you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you didn't have to work for that. You
No.
were just born
Yes.
that way. So now,
Yeah.
I guess being a Latino in Hollywood, how has that shaped your view?
It's interesting. I was just talking about this earlier today. I grew up around pretty diverse, but I would say majority white people, and I'm mixed race too. So I was known. I knew I had an essence that I knew that I was Latino. But coming out here into LA and being in front of the camera is when it really gets highlighted. And now you don't just represent yourself. You represent your whole culture. So if you step out of bounds, you just set your whole culture back.
Yeah.
So then it became the weight of the world times 10.
Yeah.
And now I have to act a certain way, do a certain thing. Lately, in the last like 7-8 years, I've found myself in that. But prior to that, I was just trying to fill the role. I was just trying to get the work. So I would say for people that are coming into this industry that haven't found themselves, this is the worst place to find yourself, in front of the camera. You got to do that work beforehand.
Outside of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can be easily influenced by thinking you need to fit in,
Absolutely.
right? And you need to shape yourself, your morals, your beliefs, your way of living to what everybody's standard, because they have a vision and they have like, we need this. So if you're trying to be in there and this is your first time in there, you're trying to mold yourself to it, right? We've talked about this lesson, I think, for the last 4 years, and it's like, before we used to think we needed to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not that case. Now it's, no, it doesn't fit us. We don't got to be there. We're good. You know what I mean? Because if you're everywhere, you're not of value. But if no one has really a lot of access to you, then you have value. How do you reach that person, right? Your standard, your level of acting, being in movies, hit shows, you have a level that people try to reach you. And once you're there, then you think you have like a safe spot, but now the other group tries to come and get you, right? Like people that didn't believe in you, now like, dude, I seen you. Come through.
Believed in you, huh?
I've always believed in you.
Man.
I knew you could do
I love
it.
this
I
one.
knew you could do it.
I've been seeing that a lot lately.
Because you said 8 seasons.
Yeah.
You know, season 1, some around you may have been, nah, no aguanta.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But-
Season 2?
2, you're like, all right.
Ya casi viene tu. Your exit, bro. It's almost there.
But after 8,
8.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And such an important character,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know about everybody here. I know my sister here, bro. We cried with when Captain Ash died.
Oh man,
Cry.
can I just tell you how much of an impact that made on just my personal life?
We'll talk
I'm
about
driving to drop my kid off to her pre-K, and I got her teachers coming out being like, "Why did you do this? Oh my God, I can't look at you the same way."
This. Oh, dude.
I didn't write the scripts. I swear to God. Like,
He
it wasn't
said,
my
"I'm
choice.
just
doing my job.
I had no
wasn't me.
choice.
Yeah, don't take it out on my kid, all right?
And you weren't even in the episode.
I know. I was pissed about
Man,
that. Yeah.
and that's why I think funny fact. I woke up one day and I was like, me da ganas de llorar, güey. Me da ganas. So you know what? I go on Hulu, go to the episeld, and I play it. No, I got to the
Stop.
part. Dije, puta madre, güey. ¿Por qué se va, güey? And it was, what did he say to, Athena, right? And he was like, I didn't choose this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
True words have never been spoken.
Yeah. But like your character in there is such a role, such a presence for being a father, and a father that sacrifices his home that he found to move back to be closer to his son. You as a father now, how do you tie this in? Because I'm a dad, and I'm watching this dad figure on there sacrifice what he thinks is home to go closer to his kid because he sees that, the disconnection. As a father now, how is that balance? How does that role play into your life?
It's kind of like this thing that I didn't understand until more so recently than not, that this feeling of, I don't know if I'm a good enough father for my kids, lets you know that you're a good father. Because you wouldn't be concerned if you weren't,
Yeah.
100%.
So that's kind of what I tie in with Eddie. He's always feeling like he's got to owe his son something, and he wants to go above and beyond for his son, which makes him a great dad. He sacrifices everything, my job, okay, cool. Relationships, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you need, I'm going to give it to you. And it's almost like therapy, to be honest, because a lot of the times I play things that I don't get to play in my real life. So I get opportunities to let these things out and kind of test run them before I take them back to my kids. So it's been a beautiful process. I mean, being a father on screen before I was a father off allowed me to get some sense of connection of what that was. But then when I became a father, Eddie just went off into a different atmosphere. It was like, oh, okay, now I understand what this is about. A piece of me is living outside of me now. And now all I want is that piece of me. And I heard this quote that your son your son is the only man that you want to be better than you. And I go, that's truth. Yep. I want my son to be 10 times better than me. Any other man I'm going to compete with. But this man,
put him forward.
Yeah. What do you think fatherhood has taught you that you don't think you were even warned about before going into fatherhood?
That's a good question. Time management. I think that was a big thing that I think as men in general, we're brought up to be the provider protector, right? To uphold a job, to make a certain salary. And that's your duty, all right? And I learned from my grandfather and even my own father, it was just like, this is my part that I play. Now being a father, I understand it's so much more than that. It's being an example now to my son of what a man should be and how he should carry himself and how he should react to certain type of situations that are going to be provoking him out of his character. And then to my daughter, I want to be a prime example of what a man should have, how a man should interact with her and what she should expect later on in life.
Yeah, having kids makes you think. and it's different because when you have a daughter, you kind of look at yourself and like, damn, am I an example for the man that she should have in her life? And then when you have a son, am I teaching him how to be a responsible, respectful, hardworking man? And it tests your limits because I heard you earlier, your son is 6. I'm sure he's tested your.
That boy's got energy.
Yeah. I'm sure he's tested
Patience,
you
limits, everything.
in every way possible. What's a misconception that people have of hardworking fathers that maybe they just don't really understand until they're in it?
They're absent, even though they're there, and I think there's a lack of empathy for that, because you tell anybody to work a 12 to 16-hour day job and come back and then be a father and be present, you got zero time for yourself. And whether you like to say, well, that's your role or not, he's still a human being. And we all need our recoup. And even going to therapy, that one of the first things that they told me was, it's like, why do you think when the gas mask comes down on the airplanes, they tell you to put on yours first before putting on your kids? It's the same reason. So coming back, you got to give dad a little leeway. You got to give him that opportunity to decompress a little bit. And then he's got an abundance to offer from you, or offer for you.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
I already see you. You have something burning.
No, I mean, mine was just, how do you find balance between fatherhood and the career? Like, how do you prioritize your tasks?
I don't know if you necessarily find a full-on balance, because I've always kind of said the act of balancing the imbalance causes direction. It causes movement. That's what we need. So if you full-on find balance, then you're going to stagnate. And I don't never want to stagnate. And there's always things in this life that are always going to kind of throw me off balance. My thing is just, how do I create a stable movement forward towards the direction I would like to go, rather than just be kind of like chaotic and wherever the sea takes me.
We've talked about mom guilt in this podcast like plenty of times, but do you ever feel that guilt for missing out on your children's, like, I guess, milestones?
Man, so the reason why I'm here is because I saw you guys' podcast and you specifically said something, man. I had to quote. I was like, oh, God, those moments where you're not there, where the kids are not there, the silence is deafening. And you take accountability as much as you possibly can, but it doesn't help that kind of pain. And I have a great relationship with my kid's mother. That being said, I've had this conversation with her that we both have to take accountability for not being able to showcase to them how a family works together in the same household. So we have to divide our time, and they have to suffer for it. So there is a lot of like fatherly guilt. Okay, did we hop in this thing too quick? What kind of decisions did I make that I probably shouldn't have made? You know, I can't really regret a lot of things, but how can I make it better? Yeah. And within those silent times, you get a lot of opportunity to reflect. So that guilt can grow pretty quickly.
That silence. And that, I think that's like when I seen like your comment on there, because obviously if you have a blue check, it lands on there. But it was one of those things where also it came from a misconception, right? What we do is fun. Our job description and our entrepreneurship, it's fun. It entitles fun, right? This is fun.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes isn't the fun part, because the planning, the editing, the rehearsing, the traveling. And what a lot of people don't understand is if you love your kids the way they should be loved, you not being there hurts you like no other, right? It's like a stabbing to your heart that there's no relieving from it. There's no saving it. Like, you're missing important moments that you know they're going to hit you with, Dad, why weren't you there? And to hear that itself, you're there like, fuck, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I'm trying. As hard as I work, I'm trying to be more present, but with that comes so much more responsibility. And when you get home and nobody's there but you, no one talks about the silence, but everybody expects you to show up smiling, happy, motivated, and no one understands that trying to get up out of bed the next day knowing what you just went through, it's something that's so untalked about and unheard about, because everybody thinks, You're alone, fool. You party, you do, you're good. You don't have stress.
Yeah.
It's like it's the total
Nah.
opposite. It's
I
depression.
mean, you walk past the beds that are unmade, the clothes that are thrown out, and all you think about is like, man, they're not here. Yeah. And it's just a constant like reminder of what's not there.
Yeah.
So it can drag you down plenty of times. And believe me, I think in the beginning of my divorce, when it really like sank in, I spent weeks upon months just not one. I had no drive. I had to show up for work. So you guys are seeing Eddie Diaz, and that's all the energy I got.
That's it.
As soon as I come home, Ryan Guzman is done.
Yeah.
I got nothing left. And I'm leaving the house a mess because I'm like, honestly, I'm not going to touch their stuff until they get back. Yeah. You know, there's something weird about that. I was like, no. I want them to live in that space. I want them to move that space again because that gives me some kind of life. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. A lot of immature minds would think, oh, you got hella time, right? Yeah. Oh, you got there doing your things, right? Yeah. Okay, no. No. That's why I stayed to myself. I kept my unit close. I got a good group of friends. And I went celibate, and I cut everything out. And I had to dive back in and be like, all right, well, if this happened for a reason, I got to find that reason. I got to make it purposeful.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're at 20.
And he's just coming in with so much knowledge and just you're very grounded.
Oh, I appreciate
it
that.
Seems like very, very confident. Have you always been this version of yourself?
I'm glad it's coming off like that because, no, I'm not. I second guess myself all the time, and I make sure I do for the fact that I want to see whatever we're talking about from so many different angles. So I'm open to your angle and yours. It just sheds light on something, and we can all see it a little clearer. Yep. And I now am at the place where I feel everything that I have now is not because of just solely me, but because of the great people I've had in my life. Mm. So I really can't claim too much of it. The confidence that you're feeling from me, actually, I'm going to have to shout out my boy Mo McCray and my boy JJ Soria, who I just had a conversation with earlier today. That's my brother right now.
You had him on the pod 2 years ago?
Yeah.
JJ Soria?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We just had a 2-hour conversation earlier today, and he spoke life into me, and he was like, man, you're not seeing how incredible you are, and you got to live with a little bit more self-love because you can offer a lot more than what you are right now if you just do that. Yeah. So the confidence you're feeling right now is because of him.
I think sometimes you just got to show yourself grace. You know, be kind to the person in front of the mirror, because if you're not kind to yourself, how do you expect anybody else to be? You know, and you walk with such poise and such purpose because you have so much on your plate, so much to live for, so much going for you, even at young age with so much already done. But how you said, your moment's just starting. Look what everything's coming and how everything is playing around. So the moment you switch the, am I good enough? Am I doing enough? You switch it to, fuck, I'm proud of myself. I am good. I did do a lot. Sometimes I just got to take a little breath, even if it's for an hour, right? Like you get home, even if you just shut everything off for an hour, breathe, take a deep breath. You're just like, all right.
That comes, I think, from yourself, but it also comes from the people around you, like you said, having a good support system. How important has that played in your life?
Being in the industry that we are, it is very hard to find friends, let alone friends that you call family, that can be what we grew up in, which is you hit your friend, hey, you want to come over? Yeah, I'm there. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen out here. You hit somebody, nah, bro, I got an audition, I got to do this, and I'll hit you up next week.
It comes with, what's in it for
What's in it for me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what do I get out of this? Like, if I go, what are you giving me?
Man, it's defeating to the soul. So that's why I'll be the first one to give all the glory to my friends that I call family, and especially my family that I've reconnected with. They mean everything. They breathe life into me all the time. When I don't feel it myself, they bring it to me. So, yes, you're correct. they're my community, they're my tribe, whatever you want to call it. And through them, I think I step into my own sense of purpose. And you're completely correct, by the way, about the purpose. For me personally, I'm really, really bad about giving myself flowers and telling myself what I'm good at. But I noticed that if I have a clear sense of purpose, I don't have to do it. Other people will say it.
100%.
I just do the work.
100%. I think, I think we're like two peas in a pod, bro. Because we go so fast, and we think we're not doing enough. But everybody around us is like, fool, like, slow the fuck down. Like, you're doing so much.
Yeah.
I have a great support system. Yeah. And I'm just like, fool, like, it's not enough. Like, there's so much room. There's so much opportunity to do. And I sit back, and I'm just like, okay, they're telling me this for a reason. And then I get a random person to tell me, dude, you guys done so much. I'm like, okay.
And that's the thing. It takes somebody else to, like, tell you. Because we'll tell him all the time. I'm like, my boy, slow down. You're going to burn out. Nah, no hace caso. But the moment somebody else, just a random person tells them, what does he do? Well, I'm taking
You're
a break.
right.
Guys,
Oh, you're right.
You know what? He's never going to admit it. He's never going to say, hey, you know what, Pepe, you were right. But, hey.
There's no
He'll
harm
get
in
too
wanting
close.
to reach for the stars. You know, like.
In an interview, and glad we're talking about this, I believe you said Kenneth Choi told you to get your act together in your 911 seasons. How important is it and how valuable is it to have someone of that caliber see that in you to tell you, hey, I hope you don't take it wrong, but get your shit together?
Changed my life. Again, it was another life-changing moment. I was in a moment where I was getting defeated. I was putting in hella work into 911, and my scenes were getting cut. Other people were getting highlighted a little bit more than myself. I'm like, okay, so what am I? Yeah. I don't know if I'm really adding to this show or whatnot. So you know what? Let me just phone it in. You know, let me just learn the lines last second. It's like they're gonna cut it anyway, right? Yeah. And then it was the scene between me and Bobby where I'm trying to tell Bobby about my ex-wife, you know, and how we were supposed to get married. And she said that I think we're sitting in the firehouse, and I'm like bawling a little bit or whatnot. And Kenneth pulls me. He's like, my boy, you got a future, man. What are you doing? If you don't put in the time and the energy, you're never going to get to where we all know you can get. And who you are is very unique in itself. We don't have another like Latin, like, you know, superstar like you. We need to see this. Yeah. Please do the work. So he'd hand me books, and he handed me a bunch of stuff that I need to study. And then I just took it and ran with it. So I'm both grateful for the fact that he was able to send me the message at the time, and I'm also grateful for the fact that I was able to receive it.
Yeah, and you're talking about feeling this way. I mean, even after Step Up and after a movie with Jennifer Lopez, does that just transpire from you believing your own self-worth and what you're good for and what, because being in your own mind can be one of the most devastating things, that it can kill your opportunities just because you think it's not enough or you're not doing enough.
I've been pretty open about my mental health struggles, and that time period in my life was, let me just work as hard as I can to get the job. And then once I got the job, let me just try and work as hard as I can to please whoever I'm working for. It had nothing to do with what I actually have to offer and like how good I am at something. Yeah. So it was very defeating in a sense that I was always feeling like I was playing catch up. Yeah. And I've said this in other interviews as well, that I didn't call myself an actor for the longest time because I was like, I'm a fraud. I'm an imposter. Y'all don't know. I just fight. And like, that's all I really want to do, to be honest. Like, this is kind of like just, I'm getting paid a lot of money. And if you didn't pay me this amount of money, I'd be right back in the octagon. And luckily I had a changing in my ways. And then I got to see and hear from people like Kenny. And then more so recently from a lot of different fans, which I'm getting a lot of love in this last year that I haven't gotten. And it all kind of comes in waves. You know, you're here one minute, now gone the next, and it's weird when he goes because you're so used to it when it's there.
Yeah.
But I think at this point in time, I'm just so grateful, and I'm so open and receiving it in a way that I couldn't receive it prior, that now it just makes me want to keep on moving forward.
Amazing. I mean, it's hearing you talk about it and being so open to receiving, you know, advice from other people and etc. Was there a moment throughout your journey that maybe you hit rock bottom that made you a little open-minded and a little more receptive to all of this that people are giving you, where it really humbled you?
Yeah, and I go back to 8 years ago, and I'm not sure familiar with any of my past, but I tried to take my own life, and in that moment just changed everything for me. And when you have a moment like that, you have to kind of sit back after and be like, well, what do I know? Because clearly what I thought I knew got me to this place where I didn't see coming.
Mm.
And I was about to extinguish something that could help so many people. I mean, not just my family, but the people I interact with on a day-to-day basis. Like, what am I doing? And that's when you have to get beyond yourself. So that was the first step of many. And I would say the next big step would be, you know, having kids.
Mm.
It's just like you think outside of yourself. So I understood that I was really good at sending out good messages, horrible at receiving them. And if you want to have any kind of good communication, it don't work like that.
Unfortunately not, no.
Exactly.
Story of our lives, huh?
Story of our life, bro.
This goes over here like,
Man.
I don't know about receiving that.
Well,
It's a process, though.
yeah, I do want to say I'm glad you're still here.
I appreciate that.
Let's point that out. We're glad, and everybody that gets to watch you in your series, movies, and and have even interacted with you are very glad you're still here.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, and I think we talked about this probably like last week, and it's you know, that's rock bottom. You know, when you feel you have no other option, like this is it, but then you get over that, or not get over it because it comes in waves, right? It's mental health.
It took me a while.
Yeah, it comes in waves, but to understand it, like, man, there's a brighter side to this. Like, what's that famous quote? This too shall pass.
Yeah. Yes. I take that with the good and the bad. So again, going back to like all this new love that I'm getting from everybody, I'm like, this too shall pass at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So what can I take from this at that moment? And how can it positively affect my character so that when it goes away, I don't lose a piece of me again?
Yeah. I think, if I'm right, you stepped foot back in church at a specific date in your life.
Mm.
That was probably one of the most hurtful, most questioning moments in your life. And the reason I say that is because I unfortunately went through this same thing, and I still got a lot of questions. But, you know, a shout out to a great friend of yours and a great person that everybody got to see. It was Twitch.
Yeah, man. I'm talking to his brother and his cousin right now, and we're trying to work on something in light of him. But yeah, that was a pivotal moment in that was, again, just something that no one saw coming. I was on the set of 911, and it was so strange that everybody knew on set, and they assumed that I knew, but I didn't know nothing. And then I'm over here, you know, doing what I usually do. Hey, what's good? How you doing? Blah, blah. I give everybody hugs as soon as I get there. Like, Ryan's hella happy. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, and then my boy Tony Bellissimo hits me up, and this man is like a total alpha male. Like, he's a brother of mine, but he was balling, and he let me in, and I haven't cried that hard in a very long time. But yeah, getting back into church was his celebration of life, and I was always kind of like, after being raised Catholic and so strict for so long, I had this rebellious kind of nature, and I was like, man, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me if I do one wrong thing, I'm going to hell? So I'm already there, apparently.
Right. What time are you going? Because I'm going
Aren't
too.
we all?
Yeah, so I'll see you guys
For
there.
real.
Man.
For real.
So, then he brought me back in, and I started to get the message a little differently. And I started to work on my communication with God and understand from a completely different perspective of what this is really about, you know, honoring God and allowing us to be vessels of him, and the gifts that we were given, you know, to share them with other people that didn't inherit those but inherited their own, and they get to share theirs with us. So it's like we're supposed to be one big collaborative effort, which, again, in the state that we're in right now, and especially in this kind of nation, like, we need more of, you know. We need to be walking in the faith of God. But all power to Twitch. His light did not get extinguished. His body's not here no more, but his presence is still here. 100%. And till the day I die, I'm going to be keeping that thing alive.
I think I'll go for it.
No, I mean, so what do you think your lesson, I guess, what do you think you're here to teach people?
I don't think I'm here to teach anybody anything. I'm here to invite them to be their truest version of themselves and to love one another. I think we got a lot of fighting, but we don't have enough love. And you can't love another person if you don't love yourself, like you were saying. So I think a lot of people out there walking and emulating like they have everything right and they're pro-love and everything, but then they go home and they hate on themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not truthful. It's not authentic.
Yeah.
So if anything, I'm just inviting you to love yourself.
And showing people the true side to it.
Exactly.
It's
We
not
can all
perfect.
be flawed.
Yeah.
We say stupid things. I've done plenty of stupid things. I've said stupid things. But that's not who I am. Those are just elements of my growth.
Yeah. Like, everybody has a past, you know? It makes us who we are now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And if at any point you regret it, I mean, we all do, but if we had it any other way, I don't think we would be this that we are now.
Yes.
And, you know, when you come in with friendships and relationships, you have to kind of understand that you're coming at a point of their life where they already had another life. Either you accept who they are now and you love that version, or just don't waste their time, right? And that's friends and family, any sort of relationship, because it could be one-sided very fast.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we said it so many times where it's like, takers have no limit, but givers also have no limit. So you have to realize what is your own limit, right? Because you as a giver, we're like that. We're givers. Todo lo que necesitas. And then you come to a point where, like, well,
Depleted.
Yes.
te doy todo, I give you everything, and I'm left with nothing now. I'm empty. So at what point in your life now, like, did you realize, I got to love me first? And if I don't take care of this, then I can't be a great father, a great friend, a great son, a great everything.
My divorce, it was the first time, I think, within my dating history that I chose myself. And that's no shade on any of the women I've been with. I don't think I was aware that you could. I from what I was raised in and what I saw for representations of love, I thought there was always going to be someone that takes and always someone that gives, and usually the guy or girl that's whoever is taking is the one winning in the relationship, and the giver he's like, you know, a martyr. It's like, you sacrificed everything. Here you go. Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's my role, martyr. And that's not the case. So I think, and I give this all respect to my ex-wife and the mother of my children. We had a learning process within the 7 years of understanding whatever that relationship was. And I'm grateful now at this point to look back on it and be like, oh, okay, through you, I was able to learn how to love myself. Whether it came in this like version of divorce or not, doesn't matter. But I'm grateful now that I actually got that message, though.
You learned something out of it.
Yeah.
Everything's
There's a lot of good things that came out of that.
Nothing teaches you better than a heartbreak.
So then let me ask you this, Ryan. Do you believe in right person, wrong timing?
I think that would go against God's timing.
Talk about it.
So I don't think if it would have been the right person, they would have stuck around, and God wouldn't have taken them out of my life. At that point, I mean, there's reasons, seasons, and lifetimes, right, for things that happen just to be a season or a reason. Now, whoever the person is that hops into my life, and I like to think of it now as I attract into my life rather than me go and chase or persuade or put on some kind of show of who I think they want me to be. Yeah. Just be me. Mm. And I can attract them into my life. That's my lifetime.
Is there, funny question, but is it hard dating being at your level of publicity and fame? Is that hard?
Yeah, you can never.
He said, yeah.
A little smile.
Keep it real. Keep it
real. Yeah, my voice cracked even from it.
I know, I heard it.
No, that shit is hard. Yeah, I think in general right now it's hard hard for anybody to date because there's a lot of comparison out there. And social media ain't helping nobody. Mm-mm. So you see some pretty lady on Instagram, you start comparing this person to that person. You didn't know that she goes back to her house and treats everybody like shit. And you're like, oh, man, you don't know anything about no one, but everybody's presenting the perfect versions of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say to me dating in my personal life, there's so many more things that I got to be aware of now. What's your intention?
Yeah. Okay,
were you an avid fan before you met me and all you're trying to do is tackle that mountain real quick, Or are you really trying to get to know me and grow with me, which more times than not.
Are you dating Eddie or are you dating Ryan?
Exactly. You don't know. Are you dating Noah from Boy Next Door? I mean, there's a lot of different things.
But if they were trying to date Noah, I mean, they were that's a little toxic.
There's a lot of
some
toxic
girls
people
like
out
toxic.
there. I'm telling you.
Some girls like toxic.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Knife on the edge, spicy.
A little spice.
They like a little mystery.
Fortunately, the girls
Jack
do.
likes them when they email her, they're blocked already.
I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy time to be dating, I think, right now, especially as an actor, as everything you are. But what advice would you give for perhaps your 20-year-old self now that you know? You were talking about having
I wouldn't build up a dream girl, essentially, for women to fall short of. I think I set so many relationships up for failure because, I'm a softie. I grew up and I was like, I want to get married too. I want to have a big old family. I was thinking about my wedding and this, that, and the third. And I felt like I was supposed to be an R&B singer in my past life because
I can sing.
So you can sing. So you got vocals or what?
No, I mean, not gonna tell you.
Canción nos vas a cantar, bro.
Nos vas a cantar after this.
Tenemos el tequila, así que empezar.
Nah. But I was super romantic with my relationships, and I think I just built them up too much to something that they weren't, and I didn't allow for the space for them just to be who they are. So I would just tell, myself, just meet people where they're at, not where you want them to be.
Ooh. So what qualities do you look for now when it comes to dating?
Empathy, receptivity, open-mindedness, family dynamic, for sure. Especially when it comes to the father-daughter kind of relationships, I think that you got to have that some type of healthiness in there, or at least some kind of closure for whatever that was. Humor, obviously, is a big thing. And I think attraction and sexual attraction kind of comes out later after all that now. Rather than when I was younger, that would become first.
What's the first thing that catches your eye of a person, of a girl?
Probably eyes. Man, eyes will get me. I could be across the street and I
you
look
see it.
Ooh, almost get in a car accident.
He said, shit.
Hit the reverse real quick.
That and a good smile, but like an authentic smile, because there's a lot of like put on smiles from like the influencers and TikTokers and all that. Like,
Yeah.
but a genuine smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you come across authentic and genuine people, especially being in the position that you are?
I can never really gauge because I don't know if I'm given enough time to understand if it is coming from an authentic place or not. Because I think a lot of people are really good at putting on this version of themselves that looks authentic.
Yeah.
It's not until I get days or weeks, and obviously I'm not going to be hanging out with people, nonstop like that. So I usually just keep it close with my core group, my community, my 3 or 4 guys and girls that I call my brothers and sisters. And if you can vibe with them, that's kind of like a filter for me. It's like, okay, they are authentic. And there's one specific, like my boy's girl, she's got this like radar. Like she can tell right away. It's like, nah, she ain't. Keep pushing. Yeah.
It's your friend group or the people that's in your circle are like the make it or break it. Like you could be cool with me and we can have a great time. But if I bring you here with everybody, my day ones that I'm always going to be with, if I'm not with you and you don't get along, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Te me cuidas,
Yeah.
pero te me alejas.
Give them the all like.
Adios.
And I think that it goes to show, like, what do you value more? Or who do you choose, like your friends or your partner? And I think it just comes with how much history you have with with that person,
I think a true partner won't make you choose. Yeah, nah. A true partner understands the power of both.
Too much time with them, though.
Nah, because if you put everything on your partner, you're setting her or him up for failure. Yeah. There's a reason why she's got her girlfriends. There's a reason why you got your boys. That's not a one-stop shop for everything. Yeah. She's not God. You're not God. So she and him have to understand the power of community. And there's some things you got to take to your boys and vet out before you go to your girl. You can't just be like, hey, I got this thought in my mind, and then say something, and now you can't go back from it.
Yeah.
And we all know that, like, we've all probably said something to our girls and been like, I wish I could take that back. I didn't really think that through,
Yeah. I mean, that's why I believe everybody watching, that's why men talk to our barbers. Yeah. They might tell the next client, but it's not going to get back to me,
And girls got their own version of that too.
Yes,
I'm starting to understand through my daughter. Girlfriends and healthy girlfriends can be the best driving force in a marriage or a relationship. They can be the ones pushing you guys together rather than like, oh, let's like. Obviously, you get the horror stories of being like, let's go to Vegas, let's go out, let's go crazy. Nah, those aren't the girls for you. Yeah,
not the one.
Yeah, that's when you have to have the conversation. Like, all right, well, your group needs to mature a little bit because they're pulling you away from something great.
Yeah, and if you're happy with that person, then they should have no problem you being happy.
Yeah,
So fortunately, we lost a soldier. Right, they're gone because now they have a girlfriend.
Oh,
but it's like,
man.
Hey, bro, you want to go out? I'm gonna ask my girl if she wants to go. Fool.
That's the worst. Nah, you know what? Don't even come anymore.
Same goes for girls when it's a girls' night out. Can I bring my man?
Yeah.
No,
you're not invited
your
anymore.
man, not mine. Like not my best friend.
Have you guys seen that video? It's a place, a little like Taqueria Mexico, and the guys are like, yeah, noche de puro hombre. And then girl sitting right there by herself, bro. Sound just like, and I do agree with you because as growing up, you're so in love, you think your person is the world, and there's nothing around it. There's no more other planets around. But it's like once you depend on them, and say they break your heart, who are you? What do you have?
Yeah.
Now you can't. You feel awkward going back with your homies or your girlfriends because you forgot about them throughout this whole relationship.
Man, and that I've had that. I went back to some of my homies and they were like, welcome back, motherfucker.
But they welcomed you back.
Yes, they did.
Gotta
God
jump
bless
you
'cause
back
they're
in,
good
bro.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
right, for real.
You live and you learn.
I took my
10
licks,
seconds right here.
but they actually let me in and like, Ryan, this ain't the first time, bro. So like, you happen to pick the girls that do this. Like they either choose between her or us, and you always, of course, trying to be the good person, try to choose them, and you sacrifice as much as you possibly can. You think through sacrifice you're showing love. That ain't it.
No.
You're sacrificing something that's very good for you, which is your community. Don't sacrifice us.
Yeah.
Let her work through us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because how you said, a great partner will never make you choose and will never make you give up something that makes you happy. And that's
Yes.
obviously promising to you, right? Because I'm sure as an actor, there's a lot of time you have to spend either learning lines, creating scripts, even looking for new opportunities or new ways to invent yourself. And that in itself takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
We see you for an hour on the TV or in a 2-hour movie, but how much time did you spend recording, filming, preparing for all of this? And even after you're done, you still need a break.
Mm-hmm.
So is there something that Ryan is still healing from that he probably hasn't told anybody?
I've been more open than I've ever been in my entire life this past year, 2 years, man. So no, if there is, it's just maybe I forgot about it or we haven't touched upon or asked the question for it. But the reason why I went celibate after my divorce was for trying to break a cycle where I saw of young men in general, again, going back to the romantic that I've grown up to be, you give girls in my history as much time and effort as you can, and then they dump you for the bad guy and the sketchy dude and the dude with tattoos and all, and then you start becoming like that guy thinking you can get the girl, and then you turn into the quote-unquote fuck boy. So it's like, all right, well, I'm just going in a cycle now.
Yeah.
And now I'm damaging girls so that they don't feel comfortable enough to open up to the right man. So it's just we're hurt people kind of deal.
Yep.
And I didn't want no part of that anymore. So I was like, no. Let me heal first off. And the next person I, have that kind of type of relationship with, I want to have some kind of connection. It's not based off of trauma. And I'm not hurting this individual. And she's active and she's understanding in this process as well. And yeah, I would just say that, we got to grow as a species, to be honest, because it's just more the same thing. And I don't want my son or my daughter to be going through that, and I know they will. But hopefully I can lead by example.
Temptation, man. It's always going to be out there, whatever way, shape, or form, right? If you are recovering from alcohol, boom. If you're recovering from, the other sex, I mean, there's always going to be something out there that tests you when you're trying to be a better version of yourself, right? I've spoke about it many times. Like, I thought coming to LA was success. Like, you need to party. You need to party all day, be around a lot of people. And at the end of the day, you're left with nothing.
Lonely,
broke. And everybody's just there for the fun moments, but no one's there for the hard moments.
Mm-hmm.
And until that moment of like, you know what, guys, I don't have nothing else left to give. We're going to record because we need to show up. But once we're done here, we're going home. We could go eat, but I gotta head out. I can't do this no more. And with change comes people letting go, on their own, because you may not fit their lifestyle no more, because their lifestyle was you in your fun era, basically running yourself to the wall. But you healing, that's not fun no more. That's not me. So we believe in you get to a point in your life where you hit the next chapter, and the only person big enough and has the perfect fit to fit through the door is you. You can't always bring everybody with you as much as you want to, as much as you want to bring your friends, your relationship. Maybe they're just not serving you the way you need to be in order for you to be this version of yourself.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught yourself in that position?
Plenty of times. I had a friend that I had met out here. He was one of the first friends that I had met in L.A., who I joke with my ex-wife. I was like, you got him in a divorce. you know. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a couple years. I'm like, damn, I don't know, you ghost. All right, bro. That means I got love for him. But it is what it is, and it's that detachment that you have to learn through those kind of events. It's not something easy ever, because your boys are your boys, but it's part of life. And at that point in time, I realized that actually who I was being with him and the person I was showing up was not a true representation of me. I was giving more than I was getting a lot of the times. And I'm over here asking for God for the next level, and he's like, well, fucking then let go.
Like, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do it, but if you don't want to, how much I can do.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And it made me become aware of, I can't remember who said it, but I learned it through therapy again, but there's 3 versions of ourselves. One that you present to people, one that you think you are, and then the person you actually are. And I started to understand what that actually meant through all of these kind of events. I was like, oh, shit. So I was putting on to make everybody else feel comfortable. That's not who I really am. And I was feeling defeated through that. And then I was feeling defeated at the same time of trying to uphold this thing that I thought I was. And then I'd go home and I'd fall back to who I really am. And I'm like, oh, well, now I got to build this person up first. All the other shit will come.
You can only learn that by events.
Yeah.
You can only learn that by living life. And, that's why men's mental health, we said it last week, like, don't find a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yes.
You become a voice for those people that feel like they have no answers, but then you go through life and you figure them all out, right? I don't know about everybody here, but I never imagined this to be this version.
Everything happens for a reason. I think at the end of the day, you kind of look back and you're like, oh, this is why I went through X, Y, and Z, and this is why shit hit the fan and all this kind of stuff. And it all kind of makes sense to the position that you end up being in.
Yeah, there's a quote that you had said.
Always got a good quote.
I like keeping them, but it was something along the sense of fail forward.
Yeah. I had this thing going on for years upon years. It was try, fail, learn, grow, repeat. Because I knew failure was just part of the game, and I'm come from an athletic background. I'm like, failure is the point you want to meet with. It's just another form of opportunity. Yeah. But to that quote, it was me trying to reposition something that was thought of as negative to be something positive and make it work for me rather than against me.
Yeah.
So let it be the wind beneath my wings rather than something that's holding me down.
And then the other one was like staying composed under chaos.
Yeah, that was through fighting.
Yeah.
I had to get my ass beat quite a bit to learn that one. I take that more into this kind of stuff. I had an event years and years ago where I spoke out of turn because of an emotional, and I was going through so much more than the whole world knew, but no one cared and no one knew the backstory to it. But I realized that I wasn't calm in that chaotic moment, and it was reflective of everything in my life. So it's kind of why I got this tattoo actually here, is just strengthen the mind, overcome the body. It's like, if I can't control my mind, then I can't control anything. That's the only thing I really have control over at the end of the day. So, yeah.
What did, just kind of, because I don't think we've touched into your MMA journey, what did that do to you mentally? Because I know physically it's a whole training series, but I feel like there's a mental portion of it that I don't think is highlighted enough.
So I got into it originally for 2 reasons, multiple reasons, but these 2 top reasons were, one, I was getting picked on a lot, and being a pretty boy, kind of everybody thinks has the assumption of you. And growing up in SAC, it's just like, let me test this pretty boy, right? I can pick on this pretty boy. And I would, there's certain people that were affiliated that always made it seem cool to be rough edged and get into fights and this, that, and the third. And I was kind of a little scared of it, to be honest. So I wanted to overcome this fear. Yeah. And then the other reason was kind of the philosophy behind Bruce Lee. It was like this mastering of self in the most primal aspect, where I'm kind of risking everything.
Mm-hmm.
One wrong punch could leave me brain dead. And I was like, all right, well, screw the prettiness, screw all this stuff. Like, let me hop in there with the big dogs and see what happens. And when I started training, I started just finding this, it's weird to say, but this sense of peace. The doors would shut on the octagon, and all the noise in my head would go away. And all I had to do was focus on this one person in front of me. And it was so nice that I became addicted to it. And then I just lived out Bruce Lee's words, to be honest. I trained as much as I possibly could. I tried to learn as much martial arts as I could. Yeah. And I saw that it would evolve in my personal life. So it was I say this a lot of the times, that one key can be the key that opens the door to many doors. I don't know if I said that correctly, but
we understood.
But you
understood.
You got it. It's been a long podcast. But yeah, that's kind of what it was. It was like I got to see myself in a light that I probably hadn't prior. And it honestly got me out of fights in the streets. I haven't had a fight in the streets in 15, 16 years.
That's great, bro.
So, I'm being good.
Don't hang out with this guy. Don't hang out with this
Nah,
guy.
never. He can't mess up this face.
Every time we're out, you want to fight today?
Bro,
no.
I'm just kidding though. It's just jokes.
Listen, a couple times in the cage will cure you of that, because you'll realize real
Put
quick.
him in.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Put them
I don't
both
even-
in.
I don't-
Put them all
yeah.
three in.
I'm good.
Next podcast, special edition video.
Yeah.
Straight from the octagon.
Hell yeah.
Ain't no way.
It's just, yeah.
But I learned so much from MMA. That's why I continue to do it. And as I got older, it became a dream of mine, to be honest, to open up an MMA gym / art studio combined for people that are going through the juvenile system. It's still a dream of mine, because as I would connect with so many other individuals that were kind of like, in a lighter sense, running from their past lives, trying to escape whatever they grew up in, they were able to create a new life through fighting, and they found a sense of peace, and we got to become a brotherhood, a community. And I would love to give that to all the kids that are kind of being taught something else.
Yeah, bro.
When it happens, because it will happen.
It will happen. Yeah. All right, we said this when we went to San Francisco a couple months ago. What is a Bay Area term that's not in Cali?
Oh, man, I don't even know if I'll be representing, because
Talk about it.
I'm not Bay Area. Sacramento is its own thing, and let it stand on it.
But to those who aren't from the north, they might
confuse us.
Use it and put it all
we
as
are
one.
heavily influenced and affiliated with the Bay Area, but Bay Area is more like Oakland, San Jose, Vallejo, San Fran. Sacramento is a little
It's its
further
own
to the
entity.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there certain terms that
a
you guys say
Northern
in Sac?
California term.
Nah, I mean, to be honest, it's been 15 years since I lived there, and I think the thing that I kept the most was just something simple like hella. I say hella all the time. Hella. And they're like, oh, NorCal? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now they got all these new terms, I'm sure, when I go back. It's all like, young cats out there making new words. So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
a dad now, bro. I say dad jokes.
no one gets it, bro. And you're just like, oh, I thought everybody was gonna get it.
Yeah, crickets.
So
Said-
I'm the one that has kids from the group, so they're just like, bro, you're just such a dad, dog,
Hey.
taking care of everybody.
What about Miss Rachel though?
Ooh, Noah, what's the one that Noah plays all the time? not Roblox. The videos. They're nervous as hell right now too.
What do your kids keep you busy in right now? With all.
Oh, like watching?
Yeah.
Oh man.
What theme song do you know right now?
That you never expected to be knowing.
There's one that my daughter's singing right now, and I'm gonna murder this. But it's like Man, my daughter will be coming in there. Is that Bruno Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah. In there, but I thought it was a girl, no?
Bruno and Rose.
Rose, okay, yeah. Yeah. So that's the one that's like stuck in my head. Like she's singing it for the last 2-3 weeks.
Is she a dancer too?
We're working on the rhythm, but yeah, she's a dancer for sure.
Yeah. My daughter, her name is Genevieve.
Get the hell out of here, dude.
Oh, my mama.
All right. Bro, we are the same person.
I think so, bro.
Yeah.
Somos tocayo.
Yeah,
We're brothers in
bro.
another lifetime.
My
or
little
something.
For real.
Yeah, my daughter's 3. She'll be
Uh.
4. Born on the same day as my older sister.
Okay.
But she's just a dancer with no rhythm, but she a lot of sass.
Yeah. Oh, man. She hits this like little thing with her, like she like look at me like like get in my mind.
She gives you that eye. You're just like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Sometimes with the glasses on. Yeah.
Dude, they're life changing.
Yeah.
Life changing.
Yeah.
And I think we've had such an amazing conversation with you, brother.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Like we got to know Ryan outside of his success, right? Who is this person when he goes home? And I think that's what everybody got today.
Yeah.
Oh man. Thank you for the blessing and the opportunity to talk to y'all. And
No, I mean,
yeah, it's been a pleasure.
you've
It really
inspired
has.
us, and I think anybody who listens to this episode will listen and leave it feeling inspired,
Yeah.
feeling grounded, and feeling confident, and feeling in everything. That,
Thousand.
I
If
hope so.
if there's a
Yeah.
message to those fathers out there that are maybe struggling with self-worth, struggling with feeling like they're a great father, what would you tell them?
Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. There's every reason to quit, but just keep showing up. You know, find the reason not to. That's all I could kind of say. And again, that the reason you're doubting yourself so hard is because you are a good dad. If you weren't, you wouldn't care.
that part. That part.
Man, thank you, bro, for an amazing conversation, for spending a little time with us on your relaxing days. So we're very appreciative of giving us your time. And on a short time, too. We set this up within
Hey,
a
We
week.
should have quit.
if they wanted to, they would.
I told him, I was like, hey, whatever day he says, we're showing up.
He
Whatever
did.
day
I
it is.
said I figure schedule.
He said, "I don't
We're
care
like,
what's
all right, so
happening."
Hey.
You know how you said, like, you were fangirling when you were at Benihana?
Yeah.
That's me right now. So, you know,
It's been a great conversation.
it's been a great
Oh, man.
conversation.
I didn't get to
Absolutely.
talk to Martin Lawrence, though. Damn.
Next time.
Guess you got to go to
Next
Benihana
time, yeah.
again.
I guess we got to go tomorrow.
Y'all got a similar interest, so
Absolutely. Invite
Sheesh.
Genevieve, I'll invite mine.
But I hope everybody loved the conversation. I hope you subscribe, you share, and let us know what you think. So, Toast to Life Podcast, baby. Most authentic, most organic podcast.
There it is.
Yeah.
Time flies.